Okay, hello everyone. This is a video to show you about how you can change from your pre-settled status to settled status. Okay, so under the EU settlement scheme. Now I am on this website. All right, so if you pay attention to the box here, okay, it's www.gov.uk settled status and so on. You can actually Google this, okay, and then you will be able to get to this page here. But if you're not sure which page to click, then I would just, pay attention, copy the web address, and then you'll be able to get to this page. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so switch. Okay, so it's switching from pre-settled status to settled status. And if you read carefully on this page, it is very straightforward. So what does it mean to switch from pre-settled status to settled status? So if you have pre-settled status, you can stay in the UK for another 5 years from the date you got your status. So let's say you got your status on the 1st of January 2021. It means that you can stay another 5 years. So that will expire on the 31st of December 2026. Is that right? So 2021 plus 5 years is 2026. So let's just say, 1st of January 2026. And then it says you must apply to the EU settlement scheme again before your pre-settled status expires to stay in the UK. So let's say you obtained your pre-settled status 2 years ago when they all opened up this application. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. And in 2023, your pre-settled status expires. Then you need to apply again under the EU settlement scheme. And then it says when to apply. Okay, when can you apply for the settled status? So it says you can apply to switch to settled status as soon as you are eligible. Okay, so as soon as you're eligible. Now, what does that mean? It means that, okay, if you've lived in the UK, Channel Islands or Isle of Man for 5 years in a row. So if you can prove that you've lived here for 5 years in a row, which is also known as continuous residence, then you can switch. You can switch from settled status, from pre-settled status to settled status. And it says the 5 years is counted from the day you first arrived in the UK. So how do you prove when you arrived in the UK? Sometimes it can be your, booking ticket, an email from the airline company, boarding pass, if you still kept it, or a tenancy agreement that you signed with the landlord. So there's many ways to prove when you actually arrived in the UK. It says you do not need to have held pre-settled status for 5 years to apply. So let's say next month, you haven't had applied for pre-settled status, but next month it will be your 5-year anniversary of living in the UK. You can apply straight away for the settled status. It doesn't mean that you have to apply for pre-settled status first and then switch to settled status. It doesn't work like that. If you've lived in the UK for 5 years, then it means you can apply straight for the settled status. Okay, let's continue. You may not be eligible, okay, for settled status if during the 5 years you spent more than 6 months outside the UK in a 12-month period. So they've given us an example here. So you came to the UK on 2nd of March 2018 and got a pre-settled status on the 15th of January 2020. You will become eligible for settled status on 2nd of March 2023 after you've lived in the UK for 5 years. The latest you could apply for settled status is on 14th of January 2025, just before your pre-settled status expires. Okay, so there's an example there. But going back to, you may not be eligible for settled status if during the 5 years you spent more than 6 months outside the UK in a 12-month period. It says here, if you're not eligible for settled status because you spent more than 6 months outside the UK in a 12-month period, you may be able to get pre-settled status again. Both of the following must apply. So these are the requirements, okay? So these are the requirements. And one of them is the time you spent outside the UK was before 31st of December 2020, okay? And you were back in the UK on or before 31st of December 2020. So this means that the cutoff date was 31st of December 2020. If you've been outside the UK for more than 6 months, okay, you may still be able to renew your pre-settled status even though you have spent more than 6 months. Okay, so it says if you're not eligible because you spent more than 6 months outside the UK, you may be able to, okay, you may be able to get pre-settled status. All right, so that's fine. And it says here, you usually need to apply before 30th of June. Now, again, there's a deadline of 30th of June. If you go over the deadline and you completely miss and apply afterwards, you may still be able to get it, but you need to explain why you missed the deadline. Okay, there are different rules if you're applying as a close family member of an EU, EEA, or Swiss citizen. If you cannot get pre-settled status again, your current status is about to expire, apply for a visa to stay in the UK. So if, for example, next year you're applying for your pre-settled status, you've been in the UK for 5 years, but you have so many gaps. Okay, let's say you have so many gaps in your residence, such as 1 year you were not in the UK for 7 months, and in another year you were not in the UK for 8 months. Then your status will expire. You won't be able to extend it, and what they'll need to do is you need to apply for a visa to stay in the UK. Okay, so this is like under the immigration rules, and this is for a different video. Okay, but bear in mind that if you don't qualify to renew your pre-settled status because of your absence from the UK, then your visa will end, or you can apply for another visa in the UK. Now, let's say, let's have a look at what the rules are for close family members for close family members. Okay, let's see. Okay, so if you're joining your EU, EEA, or Swiss citizen family member, you can apply to join, okay, if they started living here in the UK by 31st of December. Okay, so that's still fine. In fact, I applied for a client who got their family permit to join the mother in the UK. So they've got that. So you still have time. Okay, if you're from the EU, EA, or Switzerland, you can apply to the EU settlement scheme from outside the UK if you hold either a valid passport or identity card with a biometric chip. If you're not from the EU, EA, or Switzerland, you can apply to the EU settlement scheme from outside the UK if you hold the relevant UK document, for example, residence card, permanent residence card, derivative residence card. Otherwise, you will need to apply to the EU settlement family permit to come to the UK. Once you're in the UK, you can apply to the EU settlement scheme. If you arrive in the UK on or after the 1st of April 2021, you must apply to the EU settlement scheme within 3 months of the date you arrive in the UK. So yes, so if you arrive after 1st of April, then they kind of extended it to like July. Okay, you need to apply straight away. You can apply if you're the family member of an Irish citizen, even though they do not need to. So this is the application. Now let's go back to where we were before. So what are you going to need? Okay, what you'll need to switch from pre-settled status to settled status it says you can use the same proof you used to apply the EU settlement scheme the first time. So this is what I've been saying all along on my replies to your inquiries, guys, that you only need to use the same procedure as before. Okay, and then it says check what you'll need to prove your identity and resident status. It's the same requirements. You know, you provided your, if you are an EU citizen, provided your passport or your ID card. If you are a family member of an EU citizen, then you need your residence card. Okay. Now it says if your pre-settled status was based on your relationship to a family member, you also need proof of your relationship to your EU, EEA, or Swiss family member. And then here it says free to apply. Okay, free to apply. Then you start. Okay, start the application. Start now. So let's see what it says. Okay, apply to the EU settlement scheme. Again, it says prove your identity. You can also sign in, okay, if you've already had your application, and then prove your identity. Okay, okay, let's say yes. How do you prove your identity? Okay, so you can prove your identity. You can use the EU exit ID document check on your phone, okay, or book an appointment to scan your identity document in person, or enter the details online and send your identity document by post. So let's see. It says, how can we check your identity document? So if you've not used the app, so this is actually a progress to the last time I used this application, because before it was just use the EU exit, and there were no other options. Okay, they basically expected you to use the app, and then once you use the app, then you do it on the computer and check and continue with your application. So let's say book an appointment. Okay, that's it. And then where to scan your ID document for the EU settlement scheme. So you need to check the postcode, let's say SW191NE. Okay, so you've given address. So if you enter your postcode, okay, so I'm just making up a postcode, and it gives you options where you can scan it. Okay, so different scanner. All right, so that's it, and then you scan it there first. You can't scan it first. Yeah, I'm not sure what the procedure is actually. So let's just see what it says on the Wandsworth Council. Okay, EU settlement scheme. Yeah, okay. So they still expect you. It's funny. They still expect you to use the ID document check app. So you still have to use the app first and then continue with the application. This is, this is very misleading, I must say. Okay, so let's go back. Let's see if I can go back and say we're going to post our documents. Let's see, just go back. Okay, so let's say enter my document details online and send my identity document. Okay, so if you can't have access to the photo, then you need to confirm your ID. You don't have access to a phone, and you don't know how to do you don't know how to use the app, the EU exit app. Then you have two choices. But I think it's such a it's such a hassle going to the center, book an appointment. But this is best, I think. This is just try and do this. Okay, what is your country of nationality? Let's just say Spain. See what it says. Which document will you use as proof of your identity and nationality? Okay, passport. And then it asks for your passport type details. I see. Okay. So I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So let's say 01/01/2022. So as you can see, okay, so you can see it asks for your details, and I think this is, let's just say 1990. Okay, so I don't know why they text that message. So anyway, I don't know where they get that phone number from. That's not my phone number. But anyway, no idea where they got that from. Okay, so you get the idea now that you can just use the, okay, so to go back to where we were, okay, okay, so when you try to switch for your pre-settled status to settled status, it's like I said, it's exactly the same procedure as before. You use the EU exit app, okay, to confirm your identity. I think that's the quickest way to do it. And then continue with your application instead of actually going to the booking appointment to confirm your identity, or using this, what I'm just doing, they're entering your identity document and then send it to them to confirm it, which is a lot of hassle. Okay, so guys, I hope that's quite clear. What are the requirements, what the procedure is for switching from pre-settled to settled status. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.